The race for global dominance has shifted from the battlefield to the classroom. While headlines focus on chip fabrication and nuclear deterrence, a quieter but more decisive competition is underway: the automation of human capital. Andrew Ng's new venture, LearnVector, represents far more than an ed-tech startup. It is a strategic infrastructure play designed to scale cognitive yield for national economies. In great power competition, states no longer just trade goods or fight wars. They compete on their ability to rapidly upskill populations at scale without relying on foreign expertise. The nation that masters the algorithmic delivery of high-quality education gains a decisive advantage in productivity, innovation resilience, and long-term geopolitical endurance. This is not about better grades, it is about national survival through cognitive speed. To understand why this matters, we must look past the visible infrastructure race to the invisible one underneath. We often hear that physical assets like data centers are the new oil of our era. Current analysis suggests the United States hosts 45% of global data center capacity, while China controls 25%. These numbers seem impressive until you ask who operates them. The limiting factor in sustained competition is not just electricity or silicon, it is human capital. A CSIS report on great power competition confirms that energy policy has become a frontier of technological dominance, with projected annual consumption tripling from 415 terawatt-hours to 1,200 by 2035. Yet, this massive physical infrastructure serves no purpose if there are not enough skilled operators and innovators to utilize it. Without the workforce capable of managing these systems, the hardware is merely expensive real estate. The true strategic asset is the ability to generate a dense layer of technical talent that can keep pace with rapid technological iteration. Quick resource note: I keep a curated set of Amazon search links in the description for books, gear, and tools relevant to this channel's topics. Some are affiliate links, so I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you. Please consider supporting the channel by using those links if you find something useful. This leads us to a critical vulnerability in how nations currently approach this challenge: asymmetric knowledge acquisition by adversaries. While we focus on building our own models and securing our borders, rivals are exploiting open systems through a technique known as model distillation. Imagine a spy watching a master key turn inside a lock thousands of times until they can replicate the internal tumblers without ever seeing the original blueprint. That is essentially what happens when adversarial nations train smaller, efficient student models using outputs from powerful US-based teacher models via APIs. This illicit acquisition allows rivals to bypass years of research and development and rapidly close the gap in cognitive capabilities. They are not just stealing code, they are harvesting the distilled intelligence that our educational systems inadvertently produce. By turning American openness into a vulnerability, adversaries can hijack technological advantages without building their own foundations from scratch, effectively free-riding on the innovation ecosystem we maintain for commercial purposes. The structural response to this threat reveals a stark contrast in how different powers integrate civilian capability with national strategy. China's military-civil fusion strategy seamlessly integrates civilian innovations, such as AI tutoring platforms and productivity tools, directly into their defense and industrial capabilities. A startup there is viewed immediately through the lens of state capacity. In contrast, the United States remains hindered by risk aversion and slow contracting processes that treat commercial breakthroughs in education or productivity as separate from national security concerns. This creates a structural lag where potential strategic assets are not leveraged fast enough to counter rivals who view every citizen as a node in their national strategy. If a nation fails to automate high-quality education through tools like LearnVector, it risks seeding the 21st century not through lost battles on foreign soil, but through stagnating productivity compared to competitors who have successfully scaled their cognitive workforce. The gap is widening between those who can rapidly upgrade their population's skills and those stuck in bureaucratic inertia. This brings us to a necessary reframing of what constitutes strategic restraint in an era of AI arms races. Some analysts argue for limiting competition, but true restraint must include securing one's own human capital base as a prerequisite for stability. If the United States continues to treat education reform purely as a domestic social issue rather than a component of national resilience, It will find itself outpaced by adversaries who have already aligned their educational infrastructure with their strategic goals. The window for establishing an independent, scalable domestic education infrastructure is closing rapidly. With global data center consumption set to triple in the coming decade and adversaries actively harvesting U.S. AI outputs via API distillation, the priority must shift from merely protecting existing advantages to aggressively building new ones through cognitive yield. The metric of power has fundamentally changed. Future superpower status depends less on the number of missiles or chips produced, but on the speed at which a state can upgrade its entire population's skills through algorithmic means. The nation that solves one-to-one learning at scale effectively locks in its economic dominance for decades to come. This is why Andrew Ng's venture demands our attention not as a consumer product launch, but as a signal of where the real competition lies. It is about whether a state can mobilize its population faster than its rivals can dismantle it through intellectual theft or out-innovate it through sheer speed of learning. The race to automate high-quality education is no longer an ed-tech trend. It is a critical component of national security where states compete on cognitive yield rather than just chip fabrication. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.